Are you a fan of Stranger Things, Money Heist, Ozark, or You? Then you have been a victim of Netflix's two-part releases. Well, today we are discussing why Netflix needs to stop these two-part releases. So grab a snack, grab some water, sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Hi darlings, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed that little intro. Today we're going to be discussing why Netflix needs to stop two-part releases. We're just going to get right into it, but if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. Don't forget to like, comment down, and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy. What is the two-part release? Netflix started doing two-part releases in 2020. They would release one half of the season one day, and then the next half of the season another day. Normally they're about 1 to 2 to 3 months apart, and they did this for a lot of shows, including the last seasons of Money Heist, Ozark, and The Crown, Lucifer season 5, Stranger Things season 4, You season 4, Virgin River season 5, The Witcher season 3, and recently announced Bridgerton season 3. Well, why did this start, you may wonder? As I said, this started back in 2020, and at the time the entertainment industry and filming and movies were just getting back from COVID. So it was very common for production to get stopped because of COVID outbreaks happening on set. And so that would delay production, and so things wouldn't be able to be done by the time they're supposed to. Netflix started having these two-part releases to give production time to have delays and still have time to get things out. They would have at least a couple episodes out, but if there were any delays, they had more time and like a cushion for the next episodes to come out. Let's get into the real talk of this. Netflix is doing this all because of what? Money. When Netflix does their full season releases, viewers tend to binge watch a show, as I'm sure you and I do, and you watch like the whole show in 1 day or 2 days as you binge it. So you don't necessarily have to keep your Netflix subscription because you've watched a new season of your show and you can just resubscribe when another season comes out of that show. And so because this is something that Netflix wants to stop, they've kept these two-part releases because most people won't cancel their subscription if they know that the next part of their season is going to come out in a month or so. So they'll keep the subscription because they don't want to miss out on the rest of the season. So basically, all of this is about money. You may be wondering, okay, this is about money, two-part releases are weird, but why am I talking about this? And here's why. As a fan of You and The Crown, I watched both of their two-part release seasons, and I can tell y'all, I did not enjoy them. And as y'all know, if you've watched my videos, I am a big Bridgerton fan. I have loved Bridgerton since day one. It was one of my first videos on my channel. It is my ultimate dream to go to a Bridgerton premiere for a season or anything Bridgerton press related because I've been such a big advocate and such a big fan of the show on the internet and in my private life. And when they announced that season 3 would be a two-part release, I knew I had to talk about it because I could not stay silent anymore. So for two-part releases, I have 3 main issues. Number 1 is set precedence. With all of the shows that I had mentioned that had two-part releases, they had previously all had seasons where the full season was released all at once. All of their fans were used to watching the shows and being able to binge the whole entire season, to watch all the episodes of the new season and not have to wait for the second part of the season. By making the new seasons two-part releases, that completely throws off the fans and throws off the set precedents they already had going into the regular shows. By doing this, it changes the way that fans have to watch their shows, and it completely throws them off because, like me, if you're used to being able to watch a show front to back, the whole season front to back, it's really odd and weird when you have to watch for half of it and then remember to come back in a couple of months to watch the other half. And so that is one of my main issues, because if you've already set the precedence that something is going to be bingeable and something is going to get the full release, then you should continue doing that. My second main issue is not enough marketing. In my personal experience with the shows I've watched with two-part releases, Netflix didn't put as much effort into the marketing. I think for the first part, they do try to market it, but by the time the second part comes out, they think that people have already known and heard about it from the first part marketing, and that is just not true. I think for You season 4, they did a lot better. I do remember seeing a lot of promotion and marketing for part 1 and part 2, but for The Crown, they did not do that at all. I do have to put a disclaimer because The Crown, the first half of the season came out about a week after the strike ended, so obviously they didn't really have a lot of time to make the marketing stuff and promote it, but the second half of the season came out about a month after, and there was still no promotion at all. Again, the strike was happening. There's obviously limitations with that, but The Crown is a UK based show, so a lot of those actors may possibly not be SAG-AFTRA members, and even then they had a whole month after the strike happened to get the actors in to get marketing content to boost the release of the season, which they just didn't do. And when you don't market the 2 parts, people don't know about them. People will easily forget about them, and unless the first part had a really great hook, really great cliffhanger, or something that you really knew you wanted to come back to, you would not remember to go back and watch those things, and that is an issue. And number 3, my biggest issue with these 2-part releases is that it kills the conversations and the momentums of the seasons. With these 2-part releases, what irks my soul the most is just the fact that I can't have a well-nuanced, good conversation, have the time to critique and review a show if I have not seen the full picture. And making me wait an extra month makes it really hard. I know for you, season 4, by the time part 2 came out, I could not remember what happened in part 1. It made it really hard to keep up, and especially because they had so many new characters, new faces, new things going on that season, I was so confused. But I didn't want to binge watch the whole first half again. And for The Crown, I think where they broke the season into 2 for season 6 was just a really odd and awkward place. They ended part 1 right after Diana died, and then came back for part 2 with just William's reaction to it, kind of, and going to Eton University. And it just felt very odd because the whole first half of season 6 was all about Diana, but then the second half was like William, Harry kind of, Charles kind of, and then the Queen and her death. And it was just like, what is happening? That is what makes me really mad. But I think also it does a disservice to critics, to reviewers, people who make content out of TV shows and reviewing and talking about TV shows, including myself, because when I can't have the full picture of a show, when I can't fully see things, it makes it really hard to make an accurate and nuanced review. And I think when you separate shows into 2 parts, you have to force and really rely on the first part to be worth something that people want to come back to and having momentum that can continue even after a months-long break. From my experience, I don't think that a lot of the shows Netflix are doing this with actually have the momentum to continue the conversation and make people want to come back based off of what they saw in the first part. It forces you to have to go back and rewatch part 1 if you really want to fully understand the picture in the season, and that is just another way that Netflix wants to make more money, because if you're rewatching the whole part even though you've already watched it, that makes them more money. So some solutions. First thing I have to say is, in regards to not enough marketing, I remember when The Crown season 6 part 2 came out, it was not in my continue watching. And that is an issue because even if you're not going to do marketing on Instagram, on social media, in interviews and all these different things, you could at least put the show in my continue watching. I didn't even remember that it came out until I saw maybe something on Instagram that they posted that was like, oh, part 2's out. And I was like, oh, put stuff in the continue watching, because that might also help people to remember that the second part is out. I thought that was really weird and honestly such an easy fix that they should already be doing. The main solution I think that could happen is, instead of doing 2-part releases, Netflix either needs to choose if they're going to do full releases of seasons or do weekly releases. I think that these 2 solutions are really good, and they balance Netflix wanting to make a lot of money but also making the consumer and the viewers happy. With Netflix wanting to make a lot of money, full binge releases, they have proven and it is shown that that makes them money, that's popular, that shows end up on the top 10 for weeks on end, include Bridgerton, Squid Game, and recently My Life with the Walter Boys was up there, I believe. Didn't watch it, but I'm pretty sure it was up there. And also with weekly releases, Netflix already does that with the reality TV shows, including Love is Blind specifically, which is one show that I watch. And I can tell you, the weekly releases really does work. They get me up on my toes. I love the conversations that I can have with people. And I think it's really fun to have weekly releases. And also many other streaming services do weekly releases, so a lot of people are more used to them. Streaming services that have done weekly releases that have proven very effective include Max with Euphoria, The Bear on Hulu, and all of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus were weekly releases. And I think back when they first started, they were very popular, and I remember seeing a bunch of stuff on Twitter about them. And Daisy Jones and the Six on Prime was really popular with a weekly release. And I think this is also very common with The Summer I Turned Pretty as well, with their weekly releases. They keep the momentum going, they keep the conversation going, and they make the companies even more money. And also because Netflix has already done weekly releases with their reality TV shows, I don't think it would be very hard for them to move that into their scripted television. However, the head of scripted TV at Netflix in the US and Canada said this regarding weekly releases compared to scripted TV and reality TV. We fundamentally believe that we want to give our members the choice in how they view. And so giving them that option on these scripted series to watch as much as they want to watch when they watch it is still fundamental to what we want to provide. So I think it'll be unlikely, sadly, for us to be seeing weekly releases on Netflix for the scripted TV, which is just really sad. And also, I think what he says here is not happening if they're doing the 2-part releases. For you to split the season in 2, you are fundamentally actually forcing people to watch the shows in a way that they may not want to, including myself. So while I think there's definitely solutions in just doing weekly episodes or just doing full binge watch seasons and full releases, because they prove that that's what Netflix is known for and that's how they made their money for so long, I don't know if Netflix really realizes how much it would benefit them to do those things, and I don't know how much they would make those solutions. I just want to do a little quick conclusion. I really wanted to talk about this because when I saw the announcement for Bridgerton season 3, I literally wanted to scream in frustration because I hate 2-part releases. Like, it just makes me so mad, and I don't enjoy it as a viewer. And as someone who reviews television on this channel, it makes reviews so much harder for me because I literally just don't remember the first part, and it just doesn't make it fun to watch. For me, it depends on the show, but I love both a full release and a weekly release. I think Bridgerton could do really well with the weekly release. It might drag a little bit, but I think that would be better than 2 parts for the season, or just what we're used to, which is the full season being released. I will say one of my favorite parts about weekly releases is just being able to talk to people like in real life about shows, because I think it's really fun to be like, oh, what do you think is gonna happen next, and being able to have those conversations with people. I think it also brings more people to watch shows, because I know in my personal experience, like seeing people talk about shows on Twitter and other social media platforms when I hadn't started the show, I wanted to like understand the conversation and also get to watch the show as well. And so it's really nice because you can start later than everyone else but still catch up and then be with everyone else as the new episodes come out, which is something I really enjoy about weekly episode releases. But also, I do love a full season release and being able to binge watch a show, because I think that's very fun and obviously just what I'm used to. And binge watching is obviously gonna always be something that's popular. Even with a weekly release season, I'm one that normally will go back and watch the whole entire season after all the episodes are released so that I can fully understand the show. Those are my opinions on Netflix's 2-part releases and why they really should be ended, because it doesn't really benefit anyone but them. But is it really benefiting them that much? I don't really know. Obviously, I have a very small amount of knowledge about this because I only watched 3 of the shows that I mentioned that had 2-part releases, so maybe your experience would be different. If you do have a different experience or have any opinions you want to share with me, please comment them down below. I want to know, like, what do y'all think? Do you like 2-part releases? Do you like a full season? Do you like weekly episode releases? Like, what is your opinion on these things? I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been trying to come up with more video essays and like more sit-down talking videos to have on this channel. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Lonely, you're the reason why I can feel those butterflies when I go to sleep at night.